tell us, what was it about Danny Collins which really appealed to you?
Well, it was the Dan Fogelman script. I think you could tell if you've seen the movie, there's a kind of innate spirit in it, heart in it, and it's funny and it's touching. It was a great script, really. So, and he wanted me to play that part, which is always something you say, if a director wants you in a movie, then you have to think, well, maybe they see something that, you know, because directors and casting is very important. I think when a director makes a movie, cast is very important, who plays the part. So, and he felt he wanted me.
Well, how was that similar to back in the day when Francis Ford Coppola pushed for you to play Michael Corleone in The Godfather?
Seems like it's still going on, right? Because there, I was completely, utterly unknown, and except for the theater in New York. But other than that, and Francis wanted me to play this part, and I was, you know, a bit fluxed by why would he want me in this role? You know, it was just, I wasn't the going number in those days. You know, I was a different type. I mean, Dustin Hoffman had paved the way with his great performance in The Graduate. So they were looking at guys like me a little differently, anyway. So maybe, but it didn't help because he had a very hard time with the studio when he wanted to use me in the main role. So it was a real battle for him. And I must say, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done the picture. They wouldn't have even thought of me, you know. So it was kind of weird. I thought I might be dreaming, but I got to know Francis. I don't mean to go on here, because he wanted me in another film before The Godfather. He saw me in New York on the stage, and he wanted me to play this professor who falls in love with a college professor, with one of his students. It was a kind of mythic film. It was beautifully written, because Francis is a beautiful writer. You know, he's a great writer. He wrote Patton and things like, aside from being a great director. So I got to know him. I went to San Francisco, and we were going to do this movie. We were together 5 or 6 days. And then when he presented me to the studio, they said, they thought he was, you know, like everybody does when they present me to something at that time. They said, are you crazy? Who is this guy? We don't know. And of course, they never made the movie. But then a year later, and that's life, isn't it? Yeah.
It's amazing when you look back at Godfather, Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, Danny Collins. Is there a movie that you feel especially proud of?
Well, I don't know. There's movies I feel I always liked the movie I've made. Like if I did a Looking for Richard movie, that was my own movie. Or I recently did this movie of Salome with Jessica Chastain. But I think Scarface looms up because I think that was a real controversial and yet tremendously enduring movie. It's still out there. So. But I have favorite. I've done a lot, you know. And somebody once said to me, just recently said to me, because I did this movie, The Humbling. I did it before Danny Collins, and someone wanted to talk about those '70s movies, and I finally had to say, after a while, I don't remember the '70s, you know? And it got all over the internet and stuff. But that is partially the truth, you know. I just don't quite know. So when I think back, of course, that first movie I made was The Panic in Needle Park, and I sort of liked that. Jerry Schatzberg, I think it was the first. So there's a kind of sentiment toward it. It's a really good movie. Great Kitty Wynn, and Jerry Schatzberg directed it. Beautiful.
This is a milestone year for you. You're celebrating your 75th birthday, so
happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. I was going to try to hide it, but why? You know, it's great.
Why?
It sounds very impressive, doesn't it?
Yes, it sure does.
But
thank
400
you so much.
would sound a little better. My 400th birthday.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
No, my pleasure.
It.
I'm so glad you liked it. It's
Yeah.
really great to hear that.